Hello girls and boys, pull up your chairs, get your coffee, get your cake, if you're brave enough to have some. In fact, look at these. They are Waitrose and Partners Rich Fudge Brownie Mini Bites, and I can tell you, they're lethal. Look at this. Now you might think, well, Imogen, that's only a tiny bite. But honestly, once you stick one of those in your mouth, you're lost. That container generally is only about half full, but I try one and I think, well, that's only a mouthful. It's not even a mouthful. And then I have another one. And a bit like you buy yourself a chocolate cake and you open it and then you have a slice. You make a tiny slice because, frankly, you're not greedy. I'm not greedy. And then you pop it back in its box and then you think, I think I have another piece of that. So you go back and you get the knife out and you cut another little piece. You eat it. And you know, I have often done that until the entire small cake has gone. And that's an admission that I didn't want to share with you because, frankly, it is true. I have done that and it all goes on my hips and I'm looking very rounded at the moment, so I am on a new health kick. Right. Have you ever heard of how many centenarians there are in Japan? They are world leaders. Honest to God, they are world leaders. They've got over 100,000 people who've reached 100, and that's got to say something, doesn't it? Whilst we're all growing old and sliding into senility, what we don't realise is if we could just keep ourselves moving, relatively fit, like those Japanese people do, then that makes a whole world of difference. And I can tell you, in the last few years, I've had one health issue after another, and frankly, I'm so sick and tired of it. But I've decided to take myself in hand and sort myself out. And the first thing that I decided to do, because I want to live to 100, is to start following their example. So, if you would like to join me, I found a YouTube channel. Fancy that! I mean, would you think that I would have found a YouTube channel? Well, of course you would. Anyway, it is a lady called April and her 83-year-old mother called Aiko, spelled A-I-K-O, just so you know. And they do 10-minute workouts, which frankly I thought, well, I can manage that. But it really does get your body going and your heart pumping. And you know, Aiko is 83 and a lot of the exercises April makes her sit down just so that you can see that you can do it when you're sitting down, but often she's doing it standing up. And I have to admit, I am as uncoordinated as that lady, because she says, oh, I'm so uncoordinated. Well, I tell you, my brain does not coordinate my arms to move in different directions when I'm doing exercise as instructed. So I sort of figure, well, as long as I'm moving, that'll be okay, because that's the whole game, isn't it? I am on day 4. I did that this morning, and I'm also doing radio Taiso, which is a 3-minute exercise that Japanese people do in their community. So they all gather in a park or garden or town square, and they all do these sort of, exercises. And even that, it opens up your chest when you do that. All those muscles that you don't actually think about in the normal realm of things. And frankly, they can be slowed down. So even if you have to do them sitting down, we can all do something. I thought I'd step my game up this morning. I have been doing it before my breakfast, In the morning, I've been getting up even earlier than I normally do, about 6:30 in the morning, because I feel ready. I want to do it, which is actually nice, because I had got into the habit of lying in bed listening to my book. Anyway, I decided not to lie in bed anymore. I would employ the Mel Robbins thing of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and then get up, which I've done, which is a good start. So I go downstairs and I stand in front of my computer on which I've already lined up the next video that I have to do. So I've got 2 channels open all the time with the Radio Taiso workout, which I just repeat, and the next day's exercise. And then all I have to do is click it. I did that this morning, but I brought the whole thing upstairs, my laptop, and I decided to do it on my bouncer in the bedroom. Now, that adds a whole other perspective to it. And I've also added 2 kilogram weights. So, you know, I'm totally hardcore, as you can tell. The problem that I found with doing it on the bouncer is that there is only a small space in which you can do side steps, side step, and then heel toe, and all the rest of it. But, you know, if they were smaller steps, then that's fine. And I think the bouncing will add a bit more to my workout. In that bedroom is a mirror. And I looked at myself to see if I was upright and straight. And what I did notice is that I had the biggest smile on my face. And that's what it does for you. It makes you full of endorphins. It makes you happy. And it sets you up for the day. Now, her website is called Yes to Next. I'll put it, when I do the editing, I'll put it on the screen so you can find it. And I challenge you, everyone, to give it a go, because it is so easy to do. You'll take 13 minutes out of your entire day, which is nothing, and you will get the joy that I'm experiencing right now. Honestly, it is quite remarkable how much more positive I start my day off. I look forward to making my videos since I took note of what Tracy said to me, and that has been a complete sea change. I'm not clicking on miserable thumbnails because they're a downer, and I am choosing joy. I'm choosing to be joyful and sorting myself out. So that's one thing. The next thing I've done is, now if I tell you, every time I have a blood test, I have inflammation markers come up in my blood test. It's been going on for about 4 or 5 years, and inflammation is absolutely no good to anybody. So I thought, if I didn't have the information, then I would obviously be a bit better. So what I've done is I've, do you know, you're going to think that I'm always on YouTube, and frankly, I often am. However, I saw, I think it was a short, about pineapple skin and cinnamon tea. Now, I've not had that before, but I thought, well, you know, apparently, because pineapple skin has a lot of bromelain in it, I didn't know that word either, it is great for reducing inflammation. And I thought, well, I'm going to give it a go. I am tackling my own health problems on so many levels. I've got to succeed. I went to Waitrose and I bought 2 pineapples, because obviously I never do anything by halves. And I chopped off the skin. Darling boy didn't like the fruit because well, it wasn't super sweet, so I couldn't beat him up on that. But I simmered that skin and a cinnamon stick for about, must have been about 3 hours. It did say about an hour or half an hour, but I thought, no, I'm going to give it a good go. I want all the bromelain out of that skin that I can get. I let it go cold overnight, and then the next day I strained it and popped it into some bottles. Now, I have to tell you, those bottles look like the largest urine sample you've ever seen. But they're not, obviously. And just to prove it, I put 2 of the lumps of normal pineapple in the bottom so that nobody gets confused. I mean, there's only me and my darling boy and then Katie that comes to the house. I've done that. And yesterday when Katie came up, I said, would you like some of this tea? And she said, yes, all right then. So I said, I'm going to put some honey in it as well. I gave it to her as a tea, hot, and it was delicious. I'm giving her a bottle to take home with her because, bless her heart, she's got so much inflammation. She's got pain everywhere because of the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. And you don't want that for your child, do you? You want them to be well. And this week I'm going to get more, and I'm going to make more tea. And we'll see how that goes. The other thing is, just on a roll now. The other thing is, last week, on Thursday, I had an epidural into my C-spine, just about here, to stop the problems with my neck, making all of my arms and my hands suffer from electric shocks. And that apparently was coming from my neck. I had that done under sedation because I reckon it would have been quite painful otherwise. I think I might have to have it repeated after a few months, I don't know. But for the moment, I can actually, for the first time in months and months, sleep with a normal pillow. The other thing is that, have any of you... Gosh, do you know what? You meet up with your girlfriends and the first thing you talk about is who's got what and how they're treating it and how poorly they've been. Well, this is nothing different. So, about 12 or 13 years ago, I had marks on my forehead and it was sore. So my dermatologist said that I needed to treat it with a chemotherapy drug called fluorouracil. Anyway, I digress. So I did that for a whole month, twice a day, and to be honest, by the end of it, I looked like somebody had thrown a pot of boiling fat into my face and just burnt it off. I did look disgusting, and it was extremely painful by the end of the month, and I was really glad to stop it when I did. I thought, well, thank goodness I'm not ever going to have to do that again. I watched somebody again on YouTube saying that you have to repeat this every 2 years, and mine was 12 years ago, so I thought, okay, well, I can't do that while I've got my channel because I'll just look too wretched. But you know what? I'm not giving up the channel just because I look ugly. So I'm going to do it. In fact, I did start my regimen the other day. So this is day 2. Twice a day I'm doing it. And you will see, I'm going to try doing it for 2 weeks, and you will be able to see the progress and how things change. And last but not least, this is for you, Sheila. Revlon Colour Stay Limitless Matte in the colour 006, or it might be 900, but it is called Manifest. I put a lip line around the outside of my lips on that outer lip line, and I make sure that it comes in at the corners of my mouth, otherwise you end up looking like Coco the Clown. And once I've done that, I just fill it in with this wand, and it doesn't come off on the cutlery and the cups, but if you eat, then it will just come off around here, and then you can touch it up. It stays on all day long. So let me know in the comments if you've reached the end, and also if you're going to join me in this challenge. I promise you, you are going to feel really good. I know it is really having a massive effect on my feeling of well-being, and it's only got to be good. And let's see if we can all get to 100. And in the meantime, if you have been, thanks a lot. Lots of love. Bye-bye.